What up? Yo,
I'm David Jacoby.
and on the cool check-in,
And we are Jalen Jacoby on ESPN2. What do we do?
we get the people what they want.
Not only do we give the people what they want, we give them what they want first. It's time for some broken news.
To everyone else, it's breaking news. To Jalen and Jacoby listeners, it's broken news.
Jalen, remember when the Cavs had Dwayne Wade and they announced Ty Lue was so proud that he was going to be in the starting lineup? Well, here's what we had to say about that when that was announced.
If I'm him at this point of my career, I want to come off the bench.
Yeah, I might like that second unit. I might like going against that second unit a lot more.
And so we'll see
We'll
because
see. I think this starting line is going to fluctuate a lot.
A short-term solution to a long-term issue, and don't be surprised if they ultimately settle on the fact that JR's back in the starting lineup.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
And
I think they're going to shuffle their starting
play
lineup
with
a
the
lot.
second
They have a lot
unit.
of good players that can
We
start.
shall see.
Well,
I kind of couldn't hear what I was going to say because you were talking over me the entire time.
listen, what I have to say is much more important than what you have to say, so I talk over you the entire time. Do you not know that? That's what the people want, Jalen
I didn't
Rose.
realize it sounded that way.
That's what the people want. Well, here we are, just 3 days into the regular season, and via our guy, Dave McMenamin,
Many,
we have this report. He says, quote, Ty Lue says Dwayne Wade came to him and said he wants to come off the bench. J.R. Smith back to the starting five. Jalen, do you think Dwayne Wade really came to him with this idea?
Can I pull you behind the curtain?
Take us behind the curtain.
Dwayne Wade and LeBron James sit down with a nice bottle of red.
I like where this is going.
They like, let's put in a little footage since we started playing together in Cleveland.
Let's watch a little film. And Dwayne's like, we've never done this before.
First preseason game they got a chance to play, happened to be the final one. Didn't go so well. LeBron had 7 turnovers. Let's pay attention to these plus minuses when we're in the game together. Not the same as it was in Miami. And the big distinction now is LeBron James either has designed, based on being the best player in the game, that he needs to play with guys to maximize their ability and his that are either knockdown catching shooters or guys that'll do the dirty work in the intangibles. And so Dwayne Wade being a slasher and Derrick Rose being a slasher and Bron having the ball, it's like, wait a minute. Milwaukee Bucks, they playing boxes and elbows. I can't get to the bucket. And we talked about it on this show. I gave an over-under of 10 games that this would not last until. And so I'm not surprised. You're clearly not surprised. This is why people come to our show. Because everybody else would be like, oh, Dwayne Wade, he's a future Hall of Famer, he's a 3-time champion. You don't have to kiss up to the players to tell a fact. They respect it, they appreciate it. It just wasn't the best fit. Now coming off the bench with that second unit, I think he'll be able to get his rocks off.
I think that'll be much better for the Cavs. It's a better fit. You want to surround LeBron James with people that can shoot threes. You know who can't shoot threes? Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose. He wants J.R. Smith out there. He can get him some buckets. So after he's done drinking that bottle of wine with Dwayne Wade, then he gets on the phone. He invites J.R. Smith over. He's like, J.R., and he opens a second bottle of red wine. What does he tell J.R. Smith?
He was like, you know that conversation we had when D-Wade first got to the team? I know you didn't take it so well. You even let the media know you didn't like the fact that you didn't get a chance to earn your starting spot, basically because Ty Lue and me decided we was going to give it to my homeboy. But I got some good news for you. I was just talking to Coach Lue. I was just talking to D-Wade. We need you back in the starting lineup. And he's like, cool. Because, by the way, I got some film for you, too. When you got in the game, you was shooting the first thing that came to you. You was forcing bad shots. I gave it to you late in the shot clock one time and hit off the top of the backboard. We need you in at the beginning of the game so you can find your normal rhythm to help us win a championship together.
And one of the reasons you're here is not just to shoot threes, Mr. Smith. You also have to play defense, something that Dwayne Wade is no longer doing much of in his career. Now, you've already taken us behind the curtain, so let's just stay there. Let's just stay behind the curtain, Jalen Rose, because there's some other really interesting news just 3 games into the season that has come out from the NBA. Earl Watson has been relieved of his duties as head coach of the Phoenix Suns. How does a decision like this get made this early in the season? It seems like if you were going to make a change, or if you were close to making a change, you wouldn't do it after 3 games. What is going on?
See, this is one of those things where, as an organization, you still try to find yourself and understand what you hope to get accomplished from the top down. And if you're going to make a call like this, it clearly needs to take place in the offseason because you have more time to remedy it.
Exactly.
Find a coach. Develop your young players. Get them used to a system you want to run. Get them practicing things that you hope become a part of Josh Jackson's future, who's shown promise as a young prospect. And other young players that they have on their team, like Devin Booker, who scored 70 points in an NBA basketball game before. And when you now have Eric Bledsoe, a seasoned veteran who's been around, saying he wants to be traded, it makes me wonder, did he understand that this organization was not making no sound decisions? This is why he came to them in the offseason and said he wanted to get moved before this even happened.
Yep.
And so now all of a sudden you send your season into a tailspin. But I know Jay Triano. I hope he does a really good job in the front seat. But I don't think Earl Watson got a true, clear opportunity to start this year because he got fired after 3 games.
And this Eric Bledsoe thing is spinning out of control. We all know by now that he tweeted, "I don't want to be here" at one point, and then he went to a meeting, he was sent home, and who knows, but if you're watching a re-air of this show, he could already be on a different team right now because we kind of air all night in an ESPN News. And then there's also this, Jalen. When Suns GM Ryan McDonough was asked about the tweet, here's what he had to say. Quote, "He said that he was at a hair salon. I didn't believe that to be true. He won't be with us going forward." That's what you came up with, Eric Bledsoe? That's what you came up with? You know you don't want to be in the team when you don't even come up with a good excuse. I was at the hair salon? At the hair salon? That's what you're tweeting about? I don't want to be here at the hair salon?
Because he probably got a call from Rich Paul like, yo, that ain't the way we handle business, sir. That is not the way we handle business through Twitter. And so when he went into the office with the G, he's like, you know what? I was with the wife. He was at the hair salon. I was there for 4 hours. I just didn't want to be there anymore.
Here's the thing. I've been married a long time, or, not relatively to other people, but it feels like I've been with the same woman for, 15 years. One thing I'm not doing is going to the hair salon with her. He's a newlywed. He just got married this summer. You know you are a newlywed when you're taking the trip with your wifey to the hair salon. There's no chance I'm going to the hair salon and reading magazines for 2 hours while my wife gets her hair done. That is an opportunity for me to get away and do me. Lying about the hair salon. Come on,
just
Eric
happy
Bledsoe.
that Molly and you join me at Madison Square Garden and watch Detroit get a win on Saturday. Go Pistons!
Pistons look pretty good. Do you know what else looks pretty good? You. Coming up next on Jalen and Jacoby.
Tobias Harris look like J. Cole. He been balling.
We've got some more socially awkward athletes. That's next on Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2. Jalen, I just want you to know what we call you behind your back. Derail Rebus. Because you'll just derail a topic real quick. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2. Jalen Rose. In the Sunday night game between the Falcons and the Patriots, we had a very strange sighting. No, not the fog. No, not the camera angle thing. It was this. Bill Belichick actually fist pumping. What do you think of this this display of human emotion from Mr. Belichick?
I think he has done a terrific job of allowing the public and allowing the media to feel like he is so serious about his job. That's the only thing in life that he's ever concerned with. Therefore, he's never happy. He's never satisfied. He's never content.
No days off.
He doesn't enjoy his job. He is not happy. He's just a guy wearing a cutoff hoodie. So when I see this level of emotion, which isn't much, it just makes me think what I already know. He's a human being.
What I love about it is that, if I'm correct, I believe this was after a blocked field goal early in the game. Like, it wasn't a big touchdown or the clock running out. It was a blocked field goal. He got pumped about it. Good for Bill Belichick and the Patriots. So there's been so much attention about the national anthem protests. It feels like we're at an all-time high from the actual discussion about it. It's being talked about by non-sports media. It's being talked about by the White House. And then we have Adam Schefter reporting that the anthem has affected ratings to the point and merchandise sales to the point where it has pretty much delayed the completion of Roger Goodell's contract. Now, with all that being said, this weekend in the 14 games that were played on Thursday and Sunday, there were only 11 players that sat or knelt during the national anthem. Is the hype and the discussion and all of this spun out of control and way blown out of proportion to the actual protests?
Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, people.
Okay.
The gentlemen who chose their jobs, in this case, football on Sunday, Monday, and or Thursday, that are actual NFL players, I applaud them for standing for something. Otherwise, you fall for anything, because most people aren't willing to make that sacrifice for their job or their profession. So they need to be commended, because as an American citizen and someone that pays taxes, this is what our great country is about. Allowing you the opportunity to have emotions, have feelings, and have the opportunity to do exactly what you feel at that moment. In this case, some people have chosen to kneel, other people have chosen to be seated. Now, when you talk about the ratings and the jersey sales being down, you can't dispute those facts. But since the monopoly that the NFL has over the United States of America is going to continue for decades and decades to come, there could also be other reasons for those declines, like millennials aren't watching as much television. They're not as excited about the current stars in the game.
The National Basketball Association as well.
Aaron Rodgers, Odell Beckham, J.J. Watt, major pitchmen have been injured. How about this one? People don't talk about the fact that when Colin Kaepernick actually chose to be seated or take a knee, where did his jersey rank amongst sales? Oh, it was #1. So what about the fact that there are actually people that are protesting the league because he does not have a job at this point? And by the way, it's almost becoming laughable when I see Carson Palmer, Jake Cutler, these guys go down and get injured on a weekly basis. Like, it's become a mockery at this point that Colin Kaepernick hasn't gotten an opportunity to quarterback in the National Football League.
What do you think about this extension from Roger Goodell? Like, why were they discussing it in the first place? He doesn't seem to be someone who's in a position who's doing such a great job that we need to lock him in before some other company comes along and steals him away.
See, this is where I don't lose why the people were protesting social equality and police brutality versus the actual conversation that surrounds it. And the same thing I'm not going to do for Roger Goodell. He's going to get a deal. He isn't in the final year of his contract. And lastly, the NFL still printing money. And so as long as that's happening for 32 owners, he's going to have his status. Now, are there people behind the scenes like a Jerry Jones trying to use the fact that he isn't currently signed by saying, hey, we'll take some leverage on the fact that if you're not able to get everybody to be seated, to stand and salute the flag when it's being played, then we'll delay your bread, we'll delay your contract. It's still going to get done, and we all know it.
Let's go to socially awkward, Jalen Rose. So last week, after beating the Chiefs, there were some murmurs and some rumors around the Steelers that Martavius Bryant was actually requesting a trade and that he wanted out. Well, after the game this week, he did something which is never a good idea. He went into the comments on Instagram and he posted this about people saying that his cohort, Juju Smith-Schuster, was a better player. Quote, Juju is nowhere better than me, fool. All they need to do is give me what I want, and y'all can have Juju and whoever else. So now we have Martavis Bryant going into the Instagram comments and not just defending himself, but also kind of dissing his teammate. He did go on later to delete that and then write about how great Juju is and blah, blah, blah. Why does he think that going through Instagram comments is going to get him what he wants?
I'll never deny somebody that feels like they have one opportunity, but they're plotting for a better one.
Okay.
Never. Because that's what being successful is all about. Had he settled at one point of his life, he never would have gotten to the position that he's in. So to pursue what he hopes is a bright future, possibly with another team, I can't be mad at that. For a player who's shown flashes of being able to stretch the field and make plays, but also can be suspended for medicinal, habitual.
Habitual medicinal in long
that,
periods of time.
I would say there's only one term that I could use. They're just unprofessional.
You know, it's like
because you don't talk about your team and or your teammate publicly in a negative light, especially in somebody's Instagram comments.
Come on now. It's not what you do, it's how you do it, Martavis. If you want to leave, there's another way to approach this. You can get what you want in a much more professional manner, and I hope you do get what you want. We're going to give the people what they want after this. It's time to keep it moving. Welcome back to Jalen Jacoby. Not everything is worth discussing. If it is worth discussing, Jalen Rose will ask me to hit the brakes. If it's not, we'll just keep it moving with Method Man.
We be moving, you know we keep it moving.
Jalen Rose, are you ready for Keep It Moving?
Let's get it.
The NFL has not ruled out the possibility of Janet Jackson joining Justin Timberlake at halftime of the Super Bowl. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Jay-Z turned that gig down. I love Justin. Keep it moving.
We be moving, you know we keep it moving.
And by the way, I love Beyonce, but her and Janet, they about equal. They about equal.
What?
Man,
What? What?
Penny from Good Times,
What?
Janet Control,
What?
Pleasure Principle. Ah.
Jalen, we're about the same age, so this is not an age thing. Beyonce over Janet all day, every day, forever and ever and ever. And I'm going to pretend you never said that and just move on. They have updated MVP odds in the NBA with a new favorite. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
I know who it is. Hit the brakes. Not just knee deep. He just got knee deep. Once he did the Frank with that.
Giannis Antetokounmpo is now the favorite of MVP. I know it's earlier in the season, but he is averaging 38.3 points, 9.7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2.7 blocks, 1 steal a game, 67% shooting. What do you expect this torrid pace to keep up for Giannis Antetokounmpo?
I do. Like, his height, he doesn't settle. You know, sometimes when people aren't knockdown shooters, in particular from three, all of a sudden they find themselves standing behind the three-point line and people like open for a reason. Mm-hmm. He's the kind of guy, he's so long, and now he can embrace contact. All he do is go downhill and drive at you. So you're better off just not giving him that space. He turns over both shoulders, he dunks with both hands, he scores off post-ups, he scores in transition. Like, the sky's the limit for him literally as a basketball player and competes on the defensive end.
Yep.
You hear people always say, well, that guy guards 5 positions. Ha, 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 ha. No, they don't. The only 2 guys in the league that guard 5 positions are Greek Freak and Draymond Green.
That's interesting. Next, Mark Cuban has some ideas about how to solve tanking.
I like Mark Cuban. I'm glad Rick Carlisle's their coach. Get well soon, Steph Curry. He ain't the person to talk about this. Keep it moving.
Yeah, let's keep it moving.
Because he just talked last year about why it was a good idea.
LeBron James threw his daughter Zuri a beautiful birthday party. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
He's a king. Keep it moving.
We be moving, you know we keep it moving.
Happy birthday.
In Italy, a police escort ruined the Venice Marathon. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes. I saw David Jacoby finish a marathon.
I was tired at the end of that. Woof. That beer tasted good, though. Runners followed a police motorcycle, and it took a right-hand turn, which took them 1 minute the wrong way. This took them into the highway, on the highway, and it also allowed for a Venice native to make up a 1 minute gap and win the marathon. What are the chances you would run a marathon?
I would run, but I wouldn't finish.
Good point. Good point. You got to wake up really early, though. It's like really early in the morning.
I ran cross country for 4 years in high school, but that's 3 miles. And we were pushing people down half of it.
We have some statue news. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
You must. It's mandatory. You hit the brakes.
Jalen Rose is the senior statue analyst, not just at ESPN, but of the world. And the news is the statue from Rocky III could sell for up to $1 million. This is, yep, that's him with his arms raised up, boxing gloves on. Here's the catch, though. It is the backup statue used in case something happened to the first one. Smart by the the artist that did it. Question for you: would you care if it was the real statue or the backup statue?
I wouldn't care because it's become so iconic and it identifies so much with the city of Philadelphia that there are people out here that actually think Sylvester Stallone is from there. It's crazy.
Explain the plot to Rocky III.
You know I know the plot to Rocky. Is that the one Mr. T was in? Clubber Lang wasn't in that? What about Apollo Creed?
Oh, Mr. T was in it.
See? You giving misinformation. I pity the fool who don't know the difference between a Rocky movie 1 and 2. Especially
You're
when it's
watching
3.
Jalen and Jacoby. We'll be back tomorrow if we don't get canceled.
Got to kill the beat.